Hello everybody, my name is the Chef and welcome back to another One Piece Bounty Rush video. In today's video we're going to be doing another little countdown here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top underrated slash overlooked units in the past 2 years of the Bounty Rush game. And this is my personal opinion. There's obviously, you can consider any character underrated or overlooked, depending on your play style and whatnot, but it's just from my experience and from doing showcases and actually using these units in battle. So with that, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe and like button, and let's just get right into it, shall we? So this list is in actually no particular order./However, this unit right here is one of the most underrated in the entire game, for sure. Easily one of the best runners. Her/his kit is so nice, and we can actually see it right here. So first off, he reduces poison and a flame by 80%, like the time. So he's not going to be taking much damage from either of those status effects. Second thing that you need to note here is that he actually has a second life, so 15% HP recovered one time when enough damage is taken. So similar to Kaido, Blackbeard, and I don't think there's too many more of those units. There might be, I just might be overlooking them, but that is one of the most underrated traits in the game. It's part of the reason why Blackbeard is such a pain in my dick. But anyways, his trait 1, when you're in your enemy's treasure area, boost, or the treasure is more than 50%, boost capture speed by 50%. So that's, I believe that only lasts, like, if it, say it's a full flag and you drain it below the 50% mark, I believe the the capture speed actually fizzles out there. But you can also supplement that with some capture speed medals or whatever. You can actually run this character pretty much any way you want. She's very tanky, hits pretty hard, can debuff, and we'll get into that after. But when your ally is KO'd, reduces the cooldown of skill 1 by 15%. Really nice. Trait 2. When your strength has less than 30%, reduce cooldown of dodge by 50%. So similar to Katakuri, except with an HP restriction. This person spams the shit out of that dodge, and it is very annoying to deal with them when they're pretty much on their last legs there. And last but not least, when attacking an enemy inflicted with Hormone, which is a a unique status effect that only this character can actually produce, it increases your damage dealt to the enemy by 20%. So really nice stuff there. Now with that being said, let's take a look at the skills, shall we? So skill 1, the Laser Surgery Fist, a mid-range area with a chance to inflict Hormone status. Skill 5, I believe it's 100%. Yeah, you can see it right here. It also gives you a defensive debuff, reduces their defense by 10%. So I think the Hormone status actually takes away all of their buffs. So if you're going up against somebody like a Rouge or Kaido and you hit them with this, it actually takes away all of their buffs. So a Rouge is basically just a sitting duck. Kaido, other characters that have buffs like that. So really nice. It doesn't do like the most damage, but that's that's kind of you can't really expect much with a skill that does like such a nice thing like that. But if you have your skill 2 to back you up afterwards, it's pretty much going to finish them off because it does quite a bit of damage. So skill 2 is the Hell Wink. It is it does a knockback effect. It does 758 damage, and it has a 35-second cooldown. So it's really nice. It's quite long range too, as you can see in the clip. And just overall, this unit is very nice and underrated. And it's a shame that because I'm assuming due to this character's popularity, she's not being used too much in the meta. But I think that's a big mistake. She's a very good unit. Anyways, with that, let's just move on to the next one. So the next unit I'm taking a look at here is V2 Perona. Again, due to popularity reasons or some odd reason, I don't know why people overlook this unit. She's easily one of the best units in the game. That negative status is insane. So look at her traits here. She's able to move when she attacks. When she's in her treasure area, reduces damage by 30%, and also reduces skill 2 by 50%, which is her like main attack, the one that actually follows you around. And if those hit you, boy, it's pretty much a wrap. When enemies are inflicted with negative status, boost defense by 30%, which is also really nice, especially if you're up close and personal. And when attacking an enemy inflicted with negative status, reduces their speed by 10%. So really, really nice debuff skills there. If you don't know what negative status is, it actually allows you, it takes away your ability to use skills, which is really busted. So for 10 seconds, not being able to attack plus a speed debuff is quite devastating. So skill 1, spawns a hollow ghost. Basically, it just there's 2 ghosts that circle you in like an area, very, very small range. You have to be quite skilled to use this attack properly to enable to hit the people. But when it does, you can actually hit up to 2 times. Each of the ghosts do 427 damage and give you that speed debuff. So that one's a good skill, but her other skill, her skill 2, is fucking disgusting. So it spawns ghosts that actually follow you, and there's 3 of them, and these things will go to the end of time. Even if you get KO'd, they will still be actually traveling around the map looking for the enemy. And if you hit them point blank and all 3 of them hit, it's a wrap. Game over. No questions asked. But yeah, with that, let's just move on to the next character. That's Perona. So the next character, this unit's probably the most underrated unit in the entire game. Nobody uses him. People think he's squishy, blah, 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 whatever. I don't agree with, I mean, if you just run full defense on this guy, full defense and HP, you don't really need anything else because his attack is so ridiculous. So Jinbei, when attacking a power type user enemy, which 90% of the game is power users, increased damage dealt by 30%. Now that is good, but it gets even more disgusting once we take a look at his skills. So when attacking power type enemy, reduce cooldown of skill 1 by 5%. So every single hit you're doing on them, it just reduces that skill 1 cooldown. When in an enemy's treasure area, increase damage dealt by 30%. And when your team has less treasure, it's another 20%. So that is a lot of fucking damage. And that's not even the end of it here. When there are 60 seconds or less, you're doing an additional 20%, and you're reducing stagger you're resisting stagger when your HP is above 80%. So really, really, really crazy amount of damage there. Now, if we take a look at his skill 1, it's so disgusting. Okay, so it is a 2-hit attack. So if you hit them with the first part and then follow up the second part, doesn't really matter what hits. You're definitely gonna one-shot pretty much any power user character in the game, considering all of those other attack buffs. You're also getting a 200% damage increase here, which is, again, most insane shit in the game. That's like Blackbeard's suck move, but you know, this one is it's got quite a bit of range on it, and just super nice, man. I don't know why people don't like running this guy. Looking forward to that V2 Jinbei. But anyways, skill 2 here, 660 damage with knockback and reduces speed, and the cooldown is very short on this attack, so you can spam this one. This one's actually slept on too, because the timing is so odd, and it has like quite a big hitbox and hits quite a bit of people if they're in that little area there. But with that, that is Jinbei. Hopefully I see this guy more often in League, and I can't wait to get this dude to level 100. He's only level 70 right now, but anyways, move on to the next. Next one on the list here is my boy Sengoku. Very slept on unit, very, you have to have some skill to actually use this guy well. So taking a look at his traits here, when your team loses a treasure, boost speed by 20%. That's quite nice if you're trying to catch up to some people, especially in the last few seconds of the game. Using skill 2, create a treasure area, and basically you heal yourself and your allies for 25%, and you boost defense by 20%. Insane. If you're spamming that move, it's so nasty because you can heal, you're getting the defense buff, and that's on top of his already insane damage reduction, as you can see here. When in your captured treasure area, reduce damage by 30%, and also when your allies are near, reduce the cooldown of skill 2 by 50%, which is the healing one. So that is really, really nice. He benefits from playing with your allies in the treasure area. Now, one that I'm not a big fan of, but it is quite nice if you're running max defense. Like, they could have done something like Fujitora rather than this one, but when receiving damage, which is less than 20% of your max HP, reduce damage by 40%. Now, that's only going to really help you with normal attacks, essentially. So when you're getting hit with normal attacks, you will be doing a lot of damage reduction, but otherwise, getting hit with skills, I've noticed, that bypasses that 20% thing pretty much every single time, even with max HP, like almost 30k and damage reduction. So anyways, when you down an enemy, inflict self with nullify stagger. So that's also a really nice trait because you could pop off that Buddha skill, and we'll get right into that right about now, actually. So skill 1, continuously deal mid-range damage. This, and it also inflicts stun when you're using it when it's being charged. The really nice thing about this attack is even if they perfect dodge and you just continue to hold the skill, their shield isn't long enough to actually last throughout the entire shockwave, so you'll actually be able to hit them afterwards. It does knockback, it ignores defense for the final hit, which is basically the one that's going to be doing the most damage. And it has a high chance of critical hit too, so it's super nice, super versatile. If you run the wolf medals with this thing, you can actually spam some heals with that. It's just a little bit tricky to use, and you need to be a really solid player to use this guy well. Skill 2, mid-range fire, that has a area attack that has a chance to set enemy aflame. So this is like some cannonballs that are dropping, as you can see, and basically it'll set your opponents aflame. It'll keep attacking in a triangular shape, reduces attack by 10% for the enemies, and it also will last even if you die, so it will continue to drop bombs, which is really nice. I love skills that do that after you're dead. But anyways, that's it for Sengoku. Let's move on to the next. So we got our boy here, Kizaru, probably one of my favorite units in the entire series, or character in the entire series, and one of my favorite units in the game. So he's super slept on. He's got some really nice traits, as you're about to see here. So when attacked by an enemy, 15% chance to reduce damage received by 30%. That's okay. Nullify stun, a really amazing and overlooked trait to have on a character. When attacked by, basically that just makes you like if you're attacked by Shanks or something, you're not going to get that stun. That fucking feels like 100% chance to stun Shanks' attack. Anyways, when attacked by an enemy, 2% chance to dodge without taking damage or accompanying effects, so a small % chance to be invincible that barely ever procs. But these are some nice traits here. So when you're in your enemy's treasure area, you're dealing 30% attack. Also, when you are capturing or when you capture a treasure, you reduce the cooldown of skill 2 by 30%, which is really nice when you're zipping around. When there's 15 seconds remaining, resist stagger effects. You're not going to be getting knocked off that flag unless it's a knockback attack. And when your allies are not near the treasure you're at, so if you're zapping over to the enemy's side and they're not looking after their treasure, you can do an extra 20% damage. So that is insane when there's nobody at the treasure and other than like an enemy. You're going to be basically one-shotting them with your skill 1 because it is a multi-hit attack. And we're going to take a look at that right now. So 104 damage, hits 6 times, and knocks back. This skill is so fucking devastating. I've done a couple showcases on him showing the power of that move. But let's take a look at his skill 2 here. This one moves towards a target at a long range and cannot be used for like the first 7 seconds of battle, similar to like Marco or Sanji, the new Sanji. But when you do actually land this attack, it does quite a bit of damage because you're going to be sneaking up on enemies in their treasure area when they're by themselves. So it's going to give you that initial damage plus following up with a skill 2. It's basically a wrap. But anyways, let's move on to the next one. So probably the most overlooked Bounty Fest unit, maybe next to Kinemon in recent times, is this V2 Moria. People just don't like Moria because he's Moria. He's just a big fat onion, with scissors. But don't judge a book by its cover, because this guy is one of the best kits in the entire game. When an ally from your team is KO'd, boosts defense by 20% and heals by 10%. And when your ally is KO'd, reduces the skill 1 cooldown time by 15%. So you actually benefit from your team doing poorly, which is my favorite type of traits. Typical attacker trait: when you're in your enemy's treasure, there's 30% extra damage. Reduce stagger, or resist stagger rather, at 80% HP or more. When attacking an enemy inflicted with Shadowless, which is a unique trait of Moria, increases damage dealt by 10% and also 20% to runners. So if you land that skill 2, it's pretty much night for runners. So for a set period of time after using skill 2, change down to stagger effect and reduces damage received by 30%, giving him some extra tankiness, which is really nice. Now, so if you take a look at his skill 1 here, basically it's a seeking lizard tail. I call it the dildo of doom. Basically, it follows around, it tracks your opponent, and basically it'll chase them down for like a few seconds and then pop out of the ground, dealing devastating damage here. It resists stagger, nullifies stagger for a set period of time, reduces their speed if it hits them, if they end up surviving, that is, and it does a devastating amount of damage, 840, really nice. And let's move on to the skill 2 here, which is probably his the bread and butter. So it's a 2-hit part attack. If you hit the first part, it causes tremor, and then you hit them with the second part, increases your attack by 30%, and also deals an additional 164 damage and steals their shadow. And what that does is, if they have Shadowless State inflicted, when they go to capture a flag, they lose 33% of their HP every 3 seconds, which is insanity. So if they do manage to get away and they go to try to capture a flag, it's pretty much they're going to be killing themselves. So real nice. Anyways, with that, let's move on to the next one. So the next unit I want to take a look at here is actually Bartholomew Cuba, my boy Bart. Bartholomew. Anyways, so he's got 100% increased distance for knockback, which is really nice, especially when considering the skills he has. He's also a super tank defender, but we'll get into that afterwards. When you knock back an enemy, you're recovering HP by 10% every hit. So if you're using your skill 1 and you're hitting more than one person, or your skill 2, chances are you're going to be healing for a lot of damage, especially if you have one of his own medals on him. Also, when your strength is more than 70%, change knockback to down, which again is a super slept on trait. People don't really realize how clutch that is in the last like 30 seconds of a game when you're trying to defend that mid flag. Also, when you're in your treasure area, reduce damage received by 30% and reduce damage received by an additional 20% when you're being attacked by runners. And nowadays a lot of runners pretend they're attackers, so that's a really nice trait to have. Also, when you're in your team's treasure area and your treasure gauge is 50% or more, reduce damage received by an additional 20%. So that is huge right there. Really big damage reduction, especially if you got your team around you there. When you are around your captured treasure area, reducing the cooldown of skill 1 by 50%. So that is also really nice. You can kind of spam those pause if you're running a skill 1 cooldown build. And also a lot of alsos here. When you are in your treasure area, increased damage dealt by 20% and increased damage dealt to runners by an additional 20%. So this guy is a runner sniper here, similar to Boa Hancock, but this is the OG. Boa is just a fake, a phony, a rice-a-roni jabroni. But anyways, let's take a look at a skill 1. Long range attack with knockback effect, nullify stagger for a set period of time. It does 308 damage. It can hit 1 to 10 times, and again, you're healing for 10% every time one of these paws hit. So if you're hitting, and sometimes I see people ping pong off the wall like over and over again. It is an amazing skill. It goes through walls, I forgot to mention, which is another secretly amazing thing about Kuma. Just an overall great defender, and I have no idea why people don't like using him, especially in this meta. You can just snipe people, and it's good for support and healing yourself. Skill 2, Ursa Shock. Long range attack with knockback. Damage dealt will disregard enemy's defense and it nullifies stagger. So being able to ignore defense, is an amazing ability. Not much to say about that. It has a huge area of effect. The timing on this, it can be a little bit odd to perfect dodge if you're not used to it, so it's really nice. And even if you're trying to get close to Kuma to avoid it, you're still going to hit it because the hitbox on this thing is crazy as well. But yeah, anyways, that's it for Kuma. A really, really nice unit. I highly suggest you play him once in a while just to try him out. But yeah, let's move on to the next. So that concludes the top underrated / overlooked bounty rush units, in my opinion. There is definitely more that I would have liked to get around to. However, maybe I'll do it in a different video, but this, I didn't want it to go on too long. It's already been quite a long video, as we see here. But there's one more thing I want to mention. One of the Reddit mods for the OPBR community has reached out to me asking if I could help out with this little community event. Basically, it's not like really a questionnaire. It's basically just like picking the 3 best bounty rush units that were released in 2020, and I'll leave the link in the description if you want to participate. They're basically just taking a poll, and they're gonna reveal the results of what you guys think. I think the results are going to be pretty obvious because we know who packs fudge and who doesn't, but it will be interesting to see what everybody thinks when they tally everything up. But yeah, just want to say Happy New Year's. I hope you guys have some new goals, New Year's resolutions, and I hope everything goes well for you in this new year. I know 2020 was a little bit rough, but we press forward, and that's all we can really do right now. So anyways, I hope you guys stay safe, and you guys are enjoying the content, and hit that like and subscribe button if you're if you're bored. Maybe you want to see more of this juicy One Piece Bounty Rush content. Where I be. But anyways, with that, guys, again, Happy New Year's, and we'll hope to see you in the next one. So yeah, peace.